Good evening, everyone, and welcome back to the weekly webinar series where this month we are talking about what your body is trying to tell you when you are dealing with any health issue or a health concern. So, last week we spoke about what approach you need to take when you go for a therapy session or a healing session so that you can actually benefit out of emotional healing in order to overcome your health concerns. Today, I think we want to extend that to bring you something more on the same line as to how exactly our unprocessed emotions or thought processes manifest in body and create any health concern is what we want to talk from the perspective of how our nervous system responds and why it happens. Because many times when we address this in a session to our clients, they find it difficult to understand, or it sounds like it's just from the psychological perspective that we are trying to say that it's a psychosomatic thing. So, of course, the biology is involved, and when we are saying there is a health issue, we are not overlooking the, the biology, which needs a specific kind of medical attention or lifestyle change. But how our nervous system responds to a traumatic situation, and that can lead to any health issue. That's what we want to talk about. Right, Priya? You want to add something to this?
I think most healers and therapists, usually when they talk of healing, they talk of, like Gayatri said, from the psychological or the healing of the emotions. And, at least it's come very new to me. Personally, I can say that I'm sure that there is some biology involved, but what is involved? How is it involved? How can we look at it? What is actually happening in the body when emotions get stuck? How do they get stuck? These are questions that we come about. We keep adding this knowledge to our kitty. And we would like to share something that we came across very recently about how the nervous system responds to emotions. So, from that perspective, we would like to bring a slightly scientific and a more practical biological angle to healing, uh, which we rarely talk about. Or, usually when people get into the process of healing, they only talk about healing emotions, but they do not quite understand what happens in the body. Yeah. So that's one of the things that we would like to focus. And of course, another thing that we would like to focus and reiterate is something that we spoke about in the last webinar, where we said that if suppose a particular emotion is not looked at, or a particular health issue is only looked at from the angle of wanting to get rid of it, then it might manifest as something else. And why does it manifest as something else is something that we would like to discuss. So these are the two things that we would want to focus on today's webinar. Yeah? Yeah, Gayatri. Go on.
All right. So, we do have two kinds of nervous systems. One is central nervous system and another is autonomic nervous system. Now, the autonomic nervous system is responsible for the involuntary processes in our body, like the heart beating or the process of digestion, uh, anything where we do not need to put our conscious thought and effort is controlled by the autonomic nervous system. That means our conscious thought doesn't have to be involved for our body to do that function. Now, this nervous system has two kinds of systems when it comes to response to the environment. One is uh, parasympathetic system and another is sympathetic system. What do these two terms mean? In a layman's language, parasympathetic nervous system means when we feel at calm. We are at calm, we are present enough, and we are calmly responding to a situation. Now, as soon as a crisis situation occurs, it can be any accident or a traumatic situation where we need to respond differently, where we need to do something uh, in in a short period of time. We have to respond quickly. We have to act quickly in order to survive or protect ourselves. In that moment, the parasympathetic nervous system goes into either the fight or flight mode, which is where the sympathetic nervous system kicks in. Now, what happens in this? So, if you see the body temperature rises when we are in a panic situation, the blood circulation becomes faster. That's how our uh, heart rate increases. So, heart is pumping the blood at a faster rate. All this so that we can act aggressively to handle the crisis situation. For example, we have to run in order to protect ourselves, or we have to lift something which otherwise we may not think about, or we have to shout. So, extra bodily force, extra thought process where we do not have time to sit back, reflect, think, and then act. It's a panic. We have to respond very quickly. In this fight or flight mode, the body physiology changes. And that is when we are in the sympathetic nervous system. We are responding to the crisis. Now, as soon as the crisis is over, the natural response is coming back to the parasympathetic nervous system. That means calming down. Yeah. Once the threat is over, we can relax. We can stop running or we can stop shouting. We can stop doing what we needed to. And then we can sit back and relax. And that's when the body temperature will start coming back to normal. Our heartbeat will start coming back to normal. And the physiology changes as well as the thought process comes back to the relaxed state. Priya, you wanted to add something?
Yes. Before, coming back to the switch off mode, which is the parasympathetic nervous system, I just wanted to add that the sympathetic nervous system gets completely activated, like Gayatri when she said, when the change in the environment is either too fast, it's too quick, it is too drastic. Uh, like Gayatri said, a sudden accident. It's too drastic, or it is too long, when the trauma is too long. So that's how the switch on of this parasympathetic nervous system, the switch on of the sympathetic nervous system comes into place.
Yeah.
In this, I would like to add one more thing also. So a person can say, we said that the autonomic nervous system is not conscious. So what do we mean when we say that the sympathetic nervous system is coming into play and we need to do this? Uh, so whenever there is a panic situation and your mind is telling you to run, for example, even before you want to run, which is a conscious action, uh, your body starts reacting. Either it'll freeze, or your heartbeat will increase, or your eyeballs will go very fast, or there is a dizziness, or sounds start becoming lesser. This is your mind's way of helping you cope with a threat. That's when your sympathetic nervous system is already come into action, meaning the emotion is already triggered even before the action happens much later, which is a central nervous system. So that's how usually the function of the nervous system happens. So the sympathetic nervous system comes into play. Your body starts reacting in a particular way because there's an emotion already which is triggered. Most times it's threat. And from there, the conscious central nervous system gets into action or phases depending on what the mind feels is the most appropriate in that situation, or what we can consciously make out of the situation, whether I can act, whether I should not act. That's how we make decisions, or the mind makes decisions in that moment. So that's how the switch on happens. Now, the next thing that Gayatri was coming to is when the sympathetic is activated, and then the threat is over, and it has to come back into parasympathetic, where it's like a switch off, the relaxed state of mind, where the decisions are more in a relaxed state, in a calm state, where change is slow, where you can sit back and aram se make a decision or slowly take an action. That's where the parasympathetic comes in. Yeah, Gayatri, I just wanted to clarify this sequence before we come to
Got
this.
Yeah.
Go
You
on.
want to continue?
No, go on. I think you have a flow to that.
Okay. So once the threat is over, the body, the mind, the response, the action, everything will come back to the relaxed state, which is parasympathetic. When this naturally happens, it is a good response. When is the problem that arises? Is the person's mind was in parasympathetic mode, the system was in parasympathetic mode, crisis happened, went into sympathetic mode, not able to come back to the parasympathetic. The crisis situation is over, but the mind feels that the threat is not yet over. The end of the crisis, end of the threat, end of the traumatic experience is not registered. And that's when the system will not switch off from sympathetic to the parasympathetic. And that is when the person is either constantly in the fight mode or flight mode. That is freeze. Flight can have multiple uh, behavioral symptoms. So that is when the actual issue arises. And if consciously the person is not able to pause and acknowledge that, oh, the situation here is over, but in my head, it is not over. I'm not able to relax. That is when, because it is not acknowledged, now again, acknowledging is a conscious job. Telling yourself that, oh, it is over, let me find the way to go back to relaxed, it is a conscious job. If that is not done, that's when the constant need to be in the fight or flight mode will make the changes in the body, and the body has to respond. Thereby, the systems will start altering, creating the health issue, creating a constant change in the biology. Because the biology has to adjust to that fight mode or the flight mode. The way it was operating in the relaxed manner, it cannot operate anymore. Now, which system will get affected depends on multiple factors. So that cannot be predicted. Predicted in a way, yes, if the client is speaking with the therapist and shares the patterns, then maybe it is predictable that this system might get affected. Yeah. But in what case, which system gets affected, there is no rule book. It is very unique response because everyone's body is responding unique. Also, what has happened in the fight or flight mode, what conclusion the mind has made, what coping mechanism mind has created is again unique. unique from person to person, unique from situation to situation. So that is when the body does not know how to relax. I have to constantly either fight or go into flight mode, and that's when different kinds of health issues arise. So if we find out in therapy, of course, we are not dealing with the hardware of the brain, right? That is the medical profession's job, looking into the hardware. But we are talking about the software, like Priya said. The autonomic nervous system, the mind is giving signal to the body is already responding, and with the combination of this, the central nervous system will kick in and the person will act on it. That's the conscious thing. Again, it is not fully conscious, it is combination of conscious and the subconscious response when we act on it. But here in healing or therapeutic work, what we are looking at is why the mind has failed to register that the trauma is over. Nothing happens for no reason, right? So, what we are doing here is we are just finding the root cause behind any health issue. Where and which emotion or where and which mental program it's still running, even after that crisis situation practically got over. For example, somebody suddenly lost their job, and then 6 months they have no job. Now, in that those 6 months, the person is either going to be on fight or flight mode. Let's say after 6 months they found another job, but the constant fear, what if I lose my job? So they go to work, they're doing their work, but maybe that constant fear is creating insomnia or stress situation or anxiety. And from there, whatever different uh, health concerns start showing up.
Yeah. I would like to add something.
Yeah.
In fact, the space from which we got this was one of the podcasts we heard on burnout. How does burnout actually happen, and what is the meaning, and how does it affect our body? We, of course, share it on the webinar group, uh, the podcast from where we got this. But what got me thinking in that is whenever a client comes with an issue of burnout or insomnia, or like Gayatri said, anxiety, and they say, you know what, I want to come out of this situation. I think the first thing that we got that we need to establish with them is this is your body's way of taking care of you. This is your way of keeping you away from your body. When the nervous system gets activated and the body is on a fight mode, what is it fighting against? It is fighting a threat, and it is fighting to keep you safe. The only thing that it knows is to keep you alert. Be alert so that you are safe. If suppose that is the conclusion or that is the program which is running, the body will not relax. The body not relaxing will end up in insomnia or burnout or whatever because of that. But what was the mind's intention? To keep you safe, right? Meaning the health issue over here is actually protecting you than causing harm. The intention was not to cause harm. The intention was to protect you, right? So there is a benefit out of holding that. Is it conscious to the client? No. Will it come up in therapy? Yes. When the client says it's not about the issue per se, but I want to understand why is my body functioning like this? Yes, in the process of therapy, if suppose this comes back to normal and I'm able to lead a normal life like any other person, then fine. But what is my body trying to say when I don't get sleep in the night? Why do I feel restless at a time when I know that I have worked 10 hours in the day? We say, no, it's normal for the body to relax and wanting to sleep. So why is my body not, making me sleep or going into sleep mode? If such kind of questions are asked, then it will take the client to a space where they understand themselves better. So the health issue is actually trying to show them something, which is the topic of what we are trying to say. That When your body is in sympathetic nervous system for a prolonged period of time, and there are health issues which come because your body is in the state of mind, which will happen, let not the intention be to get rid of the health issue. Of course, that will happen, or that might not happen. But your body has been on, I can say, an auto mode for protecting you from threat or anyone, you meaning anyone. So, that is the first thing that we would like to establish, that getting into or staying in the sympathetic nervous system or staying in a fight or flight mode for a prolonged period of time has a huge effect on the body. And this comes with a price. So when that price is health, most people want the health restored, but they do not want to look at what is causing me threat. And all of us, 100% people of us have been in threat at some point in time, right? So that's the first thing that we want to establish today, that whenever your mind is functioning in a particular way, we have said this time and again in our webinars in different ways that your mind is only trying to protect you. It's a coping. But today, when we talk of the biology and say, you know what, this is how it protects you. And all of us have a body, and all of us have this, what do you call it, uh, go to mechanism, which we don't have a control on. Can we control the sympathetic nervous system? No. What we can control and acknowledge, not control, but acknowledge, is that, you know what, I feel this. That's something that we can acknowledge. So now, if you look at the entire health issue from this way, I think your questions will be different, which is one of the intentions. Yeah, Gayatri, of sharing all of this.
Yeah, actually. Because that's where the real cause of your health issue lies. And that's when you are open to look at your emotional response and whatever then suits you. How do you want to alter it? What do you need to learn from it? If you are willing to do that, the health issue getting okay is, I think, just one of the byproducts.
Yeah.
Because your emotional response is about some situation. How you think, what you have altered in your behavior is impacting your life in far more, uh, uh, far broader way than just the health. Maybe it is impacting your relationships, maybe it is impacting your performance or your ability to, just sit and feel the calmness so that you are more productive when you want to be productive. It might be impacting so many different aspects in you. So in that sense, as Priya said, the health issue is your body's way to protect you. It may sound little paradoxical, but if you look at your health issues in this manner, you will thank the body and the health issue. Because in the process of looking at your uh, health issue and staying open to learn the message behind it, which your body is trying to give you, you learn something so great in terms of value that you thank your body and the health issue. Had it not come, maybe this would have not, you know, become available to you. Because that one thing can lead you to a completely new kind of lifestyle or behavioral response to your reality. So again, this can go back to one thing, that nothing in our universe is actually trying to block us. Everything in some or the other way is trying to, help us grow, help us go beyond our blocks and limitations, which we are not looking at conscious. So in that sense, universe is not against you. God is not against you.
Yeah, life is
life
never
is
against.
not against you.
Yeah. In fact, we say,
Everything.
life takes care of itself and it has its unique ways of taking care of itself. And with this, the second thing that we would like to establish, shall I start with that, Gayatri?
Yeah, yeah.
Is when we say life is trying to take care of us, and I say that, body has its unique way and mind has its unique way of taking care of us. When we say that there is a particular health issue and a client comes and says that, you know what, I want this health issue to go away. And we say, okay, let's see and let's see to that this health issue goes away without looking at what caused this to happen. Yeah. What happens? What happens is body has to restore its balance in some way or the other. So if one system was not functioning for whatever reasons and holding that to keep the body in a particular balanced way, and this is kind of now, altered, then some other system will take over the responsibility of holding the balance because we are not looking at the root. It is like saying that there is a tree and at the root there is something which is infected and a fruit has got infected. A part of the branch has got infected. And we say, you know what, do one thing, just cut off this branch. So that will be fine. Or just take care of the branch to see that it comes back and it gives the green color. So whatever needs to be done is done there. Now this infection or this malfunction of the root will be shown in some other branch because the tree has to maintain its balance in some way. No? So when we say that do not look at health issue as wanting to get rid of it, what we mean to say is your bodies are so strong and your bodies are such a wonderful mechanism made by God or the universe, is that it will have its own way to maintain its balance mentally and physically. So unless the root cause of the issue is not looked at, and when we say not looked at, that's not a threat. So people who are not looking at it do not think that, oh, I'm in such a threatful situation that now I'm not looking at the health issue, meaning that something is wrong with me. No. When the time is right, when you find the courage to do it, when you ask the right kind of questions, when the awareness is there for you to hold yourself, even when you look at the health issue, it will come to you. So our invitation is that keep this in mind. We are not saying if you have a health issue today, jump into it and restore it immediately. That's not going to be possible also because we are dealing with cellular mass. It's going to take time. But once you have the intention of looking at health from this perspective, then there will be a day when you will want to look at it from that. So we are not saying this is the be all and end all way of living. No. We're saying this is how our body is functioning. This is how each one of us is living. So we invite you to look at your health, look at your mind from this perspective. Is there anything else, Gayatri, that you would like to add? Yes.
For all this, the same thing. I have one more analogy for the same point to be put. Like a body is also a system, and a system will always try to bring a balance within itself. Like we have seen in family constellation, when someone is excluded, the collective system will find a balance. Or when a tree is growing in its unnatural condition, it will create a different kind of balance, which may not be as stable as a tree which is growing in the complete healthy condition. Yet the tree will grow. But if we start expecting from the tree which is not growing in the healthy condition the same kind of performance which the healthy tree can give, then it will collapse. Similarly, the body keeps on adjusting itself. You don't sleep for 8 hours for 4 or 5 days, your body will start adjusting to 5, 6 hours sleep. You start getting up early. You don't sleep on time, you go to sleep early or late, your body starts adjusting. You stop, you suddenly change your eating habit, your body will start adjusting. So it is adjusting so that it can find its balance in the current uh, choices that you are making. But then, is there going to be an impact of that? There is. That's how there is a concept called as biological clock. So it's a kind of balance which your body is trying to bring and make, and that's how uh, the disease is actually, the ease is displaced. It is not a problem, it is a dis-ease. If you
Body
start,
is not at ease.
yeah, and yet it is trying to function at its highest possible potential in that level of ease. So if you start looking at the root cause of that displacement of ease, body will start coming back. That's how you transform your health, and through your health you can transform your life. So whenever you think about a consistent health complaint, and if you have tried everything, and if you still feel that it's not fully gone, or it has just changed its form, and you are adjusting your lifestyle now to match with your body, then I think you can consider and give a thought to this approach. So I think that's the whole point of today's discussion. Next week we plan to talk about one system or a couple of systems, and what can be the metaphysics behind it. When a particular kind of health issue comes, what can be a possible mental programming or emotional cause behind? That's what we want to.
Uh, I think I would like to add one more thing, rightly. We did speak of how the body gets into sympathetic and cannot come back into parasympathetic mode. And that's how, the cycle of health disorders begin. One of the ways in which happens. I think I would really like to give a tip on what are the ways in which you can get back your body into a parasympathetic mode. There is a lot on the internet about this. Meditation is a way, breathing is a way, doing things that you like is a way. Pause, reflect. You have a lot of sayings, quotes on when your life is, when you like what you do, then your life is a holiday or a vacation. Now, what do they mean by this is go back into your natural way of being, which is your calmness, which is your relaxed state. So I think one of the ways to do that would be, we have said this time and again in different webinars, is work by the day, sleep by the night. So in the night, try and acknowledge what has happened in the day. Try and tell your body that something is over. If you've had an argument, or if you've had a confrontation, or if you have a deadline to meet which you have not met, you can just tell your body that the day is over today. Tomorrow again, the to-do list starts. So one of the ways in which you can do is consciously tell your body to start relaxing. Try breathing or acknowledging your emotions. These are ways in which you're trying to get in touch with your parasympathetic nervous system. Will it completely work? It may not. A lot of things might require therapist intervention. But at least you are making an effort to get back into your natural way of calm. The intention is set and the action is taken. So I'm sure that somewhere something will start coming up. Right? Or like Gayatri said, thank your body for holding your health in an balanced manner. So even the imbalance has been some balance. That's why your body is holding it. When you thank your body, when you thank your systems for holding on for so long and yet making you live. All of us are living, right? Meaning the body is functioning. Even if it is not balanced, it is still functioning. So we are thanking life for it. So one of the ways to do that, like these are small ways in which you can start working on yourself, getting back into your natural state of calm, your natural parasympathetic nervous system kicking in slowly. And wherever you feel you need a therapist, please do. Please do contact.
Let's start with the discussion.